Hi everybody. Well, I wanted to do another video of Amaya. You'll have seen the video that I showed you of me getting Amaya out and how difficult she can be at times, and she can be extremely difficult. Are you aware that your mum is here? Are you? With a blurry camera looking at you. So, you know, she's a tough one to crack. Are you not? A tough one to crack, my girl, as to whether you want to come out or you don't want to come out, because you've been at that door for a while, haven't you? Going up and down and sideways and back to front. I haven't got the light kind of dead on her because I think that really does affect her eyesight. But today I'm going to bring the jungle gym over to her, and I'll just leave it there, and possibly, well, I know that eventually she'll climb onto it, and then once she's onto it, I'll move her over. It just means me stepping back, giving her a little bit of space and time to think about it, and that nobody's actually touched her as such, because that's Amaya. And that was the point of my video, really about her flightiness and who she is that I won't give up on her feeling comfortable. Look at that tongue, it's going 100 miles an hour. And will I or won't I right now? But it isn't about giving up on even those ones that you perceive as being not so, you know, wanting to come out of their enclosures, because it's so important for them to live a life outside of it, as you know that I'm all for. And it may take work, and a lot of work with more than others. But that's the way it is. They all develop at their own rate. You know, not all of them are just willing to accept the familiarity of inside their enclosure as that being outside of their enclosure. And it does take time, and it does take patience with them. And I'm learning that very much so, especially with even Tessa. But Tessa is, and I must say, so much more willing to come out than the likes of Amaya. Tessa's, of course, a lot bigger than Amaya, and I always say size makes a much more confident snake. They know they can hold their own. They know they can take care of themselves if the need be. These little ones, not so much at all. You know, you've got the likes of Apani and Amaya, you know, so willing to come on out anytime I open their door and put my hand in. You know, they're the first to come and greet me. Though they also have their days where they signal me, well, no, not so much today. And, you know, I will walk away because I know majority of the time they will come out. But the likes of Amaya and the likes of Tessa, I have to put a little bit more work in with them every day. And I mean every day. I don't get Amaya out every day, but I do acknowledge her in some way every day. I let her know that I'm here and that I care about her, and I really want her to become comfortable out of her home. That is important to me because I say all of the time, if they feel comfortable in coming out and being in your environment, then you know they're living with very little stresses in their life. When they are afraid to come out of their homes, and you know you have to get them out at some time in their life. You have to get them out. Why not make getting out something that they actually enjoy doing rather than fearing? And I will add to this video that Amaya looked frantic, and she was. She goes into that frantic, it's flight, but it is a frantic level of behavior when she's like that. But the point is, afraid, fearful. If she was afraid and she was fearful, she would turn around and bite me. Absolutely turn around and fight me and bite me and do everything to prevent me from actually picking her up. Now, even when she gets down onto the ground, she's not out to, I'm just trying to get closer, but I actually can't because I have a few things on the floor there. But if you have something available, you know, you have that snake that comes to the door, and I'm sure there are people that have to have this with their snakes. I can't, and am not the only one. Then offer them this. Offer them something that they can freely come out on without you actually having to touch them. And I'm not saying to do that every time, because they also have to get used to you physically touching them. And sometimes we've got the time to wait for them to come out. Sometimes we don't. Okay, I'm not going to turn on any bright lights for Amaya. She has come out onto the jungle gym that you can see. I'll actually open this blind and hang on, sorry, I have to move because have a look in Boring Lily's enclosure. Lily's up there in her hammock digesting her meal. But pretty much, I hope I'll zoom in for you. Oh, I've got to find the little switch. And try not to allow it to blur too much, but I've had the door open a very good half hour, I would say, for Amaya, and that is generally, you know, sometimes it's longer, guys, for her to decide that she'll venture on out. And I do like to do it this way with Amaya. Once she is completely out on to that jungle gym, I will move the jungle gym away from an enclosure, and not because she'll go scooting back in there or anything. She doesn't. She's busy exploring the jungle gym, hence why I feel they're so important to actually have available for your snakes, for them to get used to having something to come out onto if they're a little bit more, as you saw in the previous video, as Amaya is. You might see it as, well, that's not physically holding her, so what is the benefit of that, and how is that getting her used to, you know, you being in her life? Well, it does get her used to me being in her life, because the more comfortable that she gets with actually coming out and having the freedom to do that, she knows that I'm giving that to her, that I'm not always bossing her and forcing her to actually come on out. So it is very beneficial, and a lot of little ones, younger ones, would prefer you to offer them a branch of some description to climb onto, to come out of their homes, rather than you sticking your hand in and physically picking them up. And by doing that, you can hold the branch, especially when they're little. Amaya's a little bit too big for that now, but holding that branch and allowing them to investigate past it and go onto your hand, your arm themselves, and it's them making that choice to get closer to you rather than forcing them to get close to you. So I wanted you to see that this is how I do it for Amaya, which I mentioned in the previous video. I will wait patiently for her to come on out, and her enclosure is a perfect height and in a perfect spot for me to put that jungle gym there for her to access. And all my snakes, of course, can do this. You know, my big guys know that, you know, even with the other enclosure when it was there with Tessa, that they come on down and they could get on down here, and the jungle gym would be waiting for them there to actually hop onto. And a lot of the time they expect it. They come on down there, and if it's not there, they kind of give me a look of, well, where's the jungle gym? And of course I've moved it to the bathroom because Lily's been in there, and I quickly go and get it, and they get onto that, and oftentimes just sit on that for something different, I guess. But, you know, Amaya will slowly but surely bring her whole self out. She'll just hang on the jungle gym for a while, and that's perfectly fine by me. You know, of course I will pick her up and spend 5 minutes with her or so here with me, actually physically holding her. She's in a much better state of mind by that stage to be okay with it. So that's the importance, for me anyway, of having something like the jungle cimb. For those little bit more flighty snakes that my girl Amaya is. And I know that one day I'm going to be opening that door and there's going to be no problem. And of course she isn't going to be in this enclosure forever, guys. Either she will go into a bigger one, and probably the size that Sia is currently in, which is 500 high by 1200, and I think it's 550 high, 550 in width and 1200 in length. So that will do Amaya just fine. And of course then I will go by, you know, just how big she ultimately gets before I decide whether she needs something bigger, and that will possibly be Tessa's, which is that 600 and 600 and so on. And Tessa will ultimately probably end up with something, sorry for the blur because it's in Zoom, but probably end up in something more like Jack is in. And I know that Tessa will enjoy that. Of course Jack is up there, he's up under his heat. I have a video of him outside yesterday that I think that you'll enjoy, seeing my boy out there exploring. But there she is, and that's what she does. She can be in part of her and out part of her. I don't care, just so long as she feels comfortable enough to venture out of her home. So guys, she's going to come up, I think, up over the top of the I think. I'm just waiting to see. She was thinking about coming up over the top of the computer and changed her mind. So you take care of yourself, your family, your friends, your snakes, and of course all your animals. Ciao.